let's commence this enlightening technical session on global opportunity and future of CA profession.
I request CA Shripad Hulgol Narayan, MC member of Bangalore branch, to kindly escort our speaker of the first session, CA Raghu, past president of ICI, onto the dais and welcome him by presenting a bouquet. I request the delegates to kindly be seated.
खुदा ने जिंदगी दी है तो किस बात का गम है, खुदा ने जिंदगी दी है तो किस बात का गम है, तालियां वो बजाओ जिसके हाथों में अब भी दम है. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a huge round of applause.
Over to you, sir. We request all the delegates to kindly reassemble and be seated as we begin our technical session.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all to the 19th Karnataka State Level Chartered Accountancy Conference 2023. Pragnana Prayagna. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats as soon as possible.
Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the first technical session, Future of the CA Profession. When Divya, the chairperson of the Bangalore branch, called me and said, Mr. Raghu, I want you to speak on what is in store for the profession, what are the global opportunities, and please talk about what are the opportunities open for chartered accountants in practice. I said, yes, it's a good topic, and let me try to enlighten you as to what is in store for each one of us present here. Most of us present here have been in practice maybe for more than 3 decades. I've been in practice for 3 decades. And as any CA firm, most of the CA firms are focusing on taxation, providing audit and assurance services, consulting. But today what has happened is we have seen a lot of change happening around us. We are seeing a digital transformation, a transformation that is impacting the accounting profession. What is very important, friends, is that it is essential for all of us to move from traditional areas of practice, get into a lot of new avenues that is opening up for the profession, and try to see how each one of us can play a very important role in the opening up of various new opportunities. The digital transformation all of us are seeing is something one has to witness, and we see a lot of developments taking place in this digital transformation and how it is impacting our profession. Today we find a lot of accounting tasks are getting automated, whether it is reconciliations, punching of accounting information, the whole process is getting automated. And we find that when we started our practice, a lot of accounting used to happen manually. We used to see ledgers, but today everything is computerized. You buy products online, let us say you buy it on Amazon, the whole process, the entire, the invoicing, the payment gateways, everything is so well integrated. All these accounting tasks are getting automated. This is one big change that all of us are seeing. Thanks to COVID provided an opportunity for remote working. I think as chartered accountant firms, we should encourage talent. You might have a young CA from Pune who's able to contribute to your firm, sit in Bangalore, or you might have a chartered accountant from Delhi who's able to work for you in Bangalore. So remote working flexibility is something that has been a big boon for the profession. Thanks to COVID, all of us were able to adapt ourselves to remote working. You're able to work, well, let us say you're traveling, you're able to work when you're traveling, you're waiting for an aircraft, you're able to work. So remote working has become the very, very common. Real-time reporting. Today what is happening is that all the transactions are being reported on a real-time basis. As and when a transaction takes place in the business world, we find that the entire data is getting updated on the back end, and today business is able to take decision on various information available to them on a real-time basis. Cloud-based collaborations, cloud accounting has become very common. Those days we had our information stored in our servers in our office, but today the entire information is now on the cloud. You're able to work on many software packages which are cloud-based, a lot of tax utilities which are cloud-based, as a result of which we find that data of various chartered accountant firms are moving from their offices to the cloud, and this brings in a lot of benefits. You're able to scale up quickly, you're able to save a lot of costs, and this is something one should keep in mind as to how cloud-based collaboration is bringing about a change the way we conduct ourselves. New digital payment mechanisms. Yes, you go out, all of us use our mobile phones to make payments, whether it's buying vegetables, groceries, buying an apparel, or booking your online air tickets. A lot of new digital payment mechanisms have come. UPI has become so popular, and because of this, the payment gateway getting integrated, we find that the new digital payment mechanisms are impacting the way accounting is carried out. The next change is the online real-time audit. Traditionally, we have been used to conducting audit at the end of a financial year. 31st of March 23, all of us are busy auditing, but I think all this would be short-lived. Way forward, corporates would want you to carry out audit on an online real-time basis, where they say, Mr. Raghu, we want you to conduct an audit on an online real-time basis, and you should equip yourself to face these challenges as to how you could conduct your audit on an online real-time basis. The next thing is the virtual CFO services. What is happening is today many startups are not able to afford CFOs, they're not able to afford strong finance teams, so they're looking at chartered accountants who can provide virtual CFO office services. So you as a practicing chartered accountant, you could be a virtual CFO to some of the companies, and we find a lot of young chartered accountants are leveraging on providing virtual CFO services. So in addition to your normal practice, you could have your team members providing virtual CFO services. And this is something that is, you can say, growing very fast. And then next thing is the global service offerings. No longer you are catering to clients in Bangalore, you are catering to clients sitting at Singapore, you are catering to clients in UK, catering to clients in US. So all chartered accountants have started offering services to clients around the world. This is a change what we see, and thanks to the digital transformation that is taking place, it has become so much more simpler for you to handle accounts of a company based in Dubai or of a company based in Australia. And a lot of work is being outsourced to CA firms in India, as a result of which you're able to offer your services to clients around the world. Lastly, data security is becoming very critical, very important. All of us have seen the bill that has been passed in the parliament, as a result of which we as chartered accountants, since we'll be dealing with sensitive information, we have a very important role to play that the client's data is secured and it's kept confidential. Now, what is it we need to do? Yes, we're all busy in our practice, and today what is happening is most of us are focusing on consulting in direct taxes, indirect taxes, audit and assurance, compliance services. What happens to this practice? This practice would continue. But is it sufficient for us to focus on these areas? I think, friends, today the kind of automation that is taking place, the way in which tax returns are being processed, the user-friendly way in which you're able to file your GST returns, TDS returns, everything has become automated, and there's a need for us to move into new areas. And there's a need for us to build the next generation CA firms. It is just not sufficient for us to focus on traditional areas of practice, and it's essential for each of us sitting here in this hall, because most of you are practicing chartered accountants. There's a need for you to see how you can build a new generation CA firm, and this is possible for you to do. Maybe you need to have a strategy in place, you need to have an implementation strategy in place to build a new generation accounting firm. We need to embrace technology. When I was in IFAC, the International Federation of Accountants, we conducted a global study of how technology is being adapted in the accounting profession. You'll be surprised to know that various jurisdictions across the world, whether it is USA, whether it is Australia, whether it is UK, we found that technology adoption in the profession is very, very poor. Look at India. I'm sure all of us would agree with me that the kind of investments that we make in hardware and software is inadequate. The kind of investments we made in like tax utilities, whether it is, new generation servers, I think is inadequate. And one important thing to keep in mind is, in addition to investing in hardware, we need to embrace technology in a much bigger fashion. We need to understand what is happening around in the technology space. For this, it is not possible for you to scale up on the technology side. You need to engage with IT professionals. You need to engage with IT companies. Only then you will be able to scale up, and it's absolutely essential for all of us here to understand that technology is playing a big role. It's transforming the way you're able to carry out your professional services, and you need to engage with IT professionals, understand the emerging technology, whether it's blockchain, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's robotic process automation. Until and unless you engage with IT companies and professionals, you will not be able to scale up. And I've seen many young CA firms around the world which are able to scale up because they have started working with IT companies and professionals. Number 3, upskilling of partners. Yes, I've been in practice for 31 years. I have expertise in taxation, direct taxes. You have another partner who's got expertise in corporate law, but that is not sufficient. You need to upskill yourself. Look at various upskilling opportunities available. One good source for you is the CA Institute itself, offering so many certification courses for you. And it's absolutely essential if you want to build a new generation CA firm. You need to ensure that the partners upskill themselves. They need to get out of office, try to get into a good program. It could be on forensic audit, it could be on valuation, and try to see how best they're able to upskill themselves so that you're able to offer new generation services to your clients. Number 4, many chartered accountants meet me and tell me, Mr. Raghu, we are not able to scale up. We are still stuck in the traditional practice. What do you think we should do? I think the best way for you to build a new generation practice is to induct new partners. Absolutely important. Take the new generation CAs, try to see if they are able to build new verticals in your organization, whether it could be on mergers and acquisitions, whether in IS audit, whether in forensic accounting. It's possible for you to take new young partners, hire new staff, and drive new areas of practice. The next one is that you need to build a broad client you need to build a very broad client base. It is not sufficient for you to just cater to the clients in Bangalore. Those days, I still remember, we used to have clients calling us up and fixing up appointments, but today you are able to cater to clients around the world. So you need to ensure that you are able to scale up and offer client services to clients around the world. The next important thing is, how do you go about doing this? Networking with other CA firms. Institute has come out with networking guidelines, but for some reason it has not been a big success. But nothing stops you from networking with CA firms around the country, around the world. That is how you are able to scale up business. That is how you're able to leverage on new opportunities. And the best way to network is to identify some cities, let us say Bombay, Delhi, Calcutta, Chennai. Try to start speaking to CA firms there. Try to understand what are the office services they're offering, and try to see if you can work with them. You can also network with firms around the world. Australia is a good example. A lot of bookkeeping is being outsourced to India. And if you're able to speak to some CPA in Australia or a CPA in America, you'll be able to get a lot of opportunities for yourself, for filing of tax returns for Australian citizens, filing of tax returns for American citizens. You have a lot of chartered accountants operating from here. So networking with other CA firms around the world, around the country is very important. The next is that we need to understand, if you want to build a new generation firm, you need to specialize. You can't be a master of everything. You need to specialize. You can decide which area you want to focus on, and that is when you can start offering new services in the new generation CA firm. And lastly, you should explore new opportunities. What are the new opportunities which you need to explore is what I would just pick up around 6 areas which are currently very, very trending. Each one of us should try to see whether we are offering these services in our firm. And if you find that you're not offering any of these services, I think you should just pick up one or two of these services and see whether you can start building a new vertical in these areas. Because most of the CA firms are so busy with existing work, they really don't looking at getting into new service offerings. But currently, I find a lot of traction of chartered accountants providing services in these areas: valuation, mergers and acquisitions, insolvency and bankruptcy code, forensic audit, information systems audit, cyber risk management are some of the areas where there's plenty of opportunities for all of us. Coming to valuation. Valuation services are in great demand. Chartered accountants who have the knowledge of valuation I think can look for exciting opportunities. And today the startup sector is growing very fast. Bangalore is a hub for startups, and when we have startups, dealing with startups, the first thing they would ask you whether you can value my company. So you need to have expertise in valuation, and you need to be very, very careful, vigilant when you're undertaking valuation of companies. All of us have seen how many startups have become unicorns, have been valued, and the valuation has been questioned by the regulators. We have seen how SEBI, how various other regulators have questioned the way the companies have been valued. So as chartered accountants, when you have been entrusted with the task of valuing a company, you need to be extremely vigilant. You need to follow the valuation standards that have been laid out by the institute. The valuation standards board has come out with standards, and you should aware of the various challenges and opportunities that are there, so that when you carry out your valuation, you are completely aware of the risks that you will encounter. Now, to facilitate this, whether you can get into valuation, as a practicing chartered accountant, I might not be able to get into valuation because I might not be competent. But the institute decided, yes, we should empower our members. Companies Act 2013, when was amended, the ICAI RVO, a Section 8 company, was set up by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to regulate registered valuers. So as per the company's registered valuers and valuation rules, you can become a registered valuer by undergoing this valuation course conducted by the institute. And the courses offered by the institute are 50 hours educational course for a valuation exam. You'll be given a certificate of practice to value, and you will have to go through continuing educational program. So please keep in mind that if you have a client coming to you for valuation, you need to have this qualification provided by the institute, ICAI RVO. You can go to the website, download all the forms, become a student, and then pass the valuation course, and then you will be entitled or permitted to carry out valuation services. Coming to the valuation opportunities, what are the opportunities available to you in this space? Today, what is happening is valuation is basically for regulatory compliance. Various provisions under the Companies Act mandates valuation. Ind AS, financial instruments valuation under Ind AS. Then Income Tax Act also provides for valuation, especially when shares are being sold. To arrive at the capital gains, you need to value the shares. SEBI, Reserve Bank of India, Insolvency Bankruptcy, all these legislations, that is Insolvency Bankruptcy Code, Companies Act, Income Tax Act, is throwing up a lot of opportunities for valuation, and it is for us to identify the areas where we can get into. The most commonest of it is business valuation. Business valuation is something all of us would be, like most of your clients would come to you and ask you to value their company. Business valuation is something which you can do it if you have done a valuation course. You'll be able to carry out very easily, and today the kind of revenue earning opportunities in business valuation is extremely high. And with the growth of the startup sector, with so many mergers and acquisitions happening, business valuation would continue to grow. Because of Ind AS today, we have moved to the IFRS regime. We are more or less converged with IFRS, except for 4 to 5 differences. I think the Ind AS, what we call it in India, is more or less similar to that of IFRS. And under IFRS, we need to carry out financial instruments valuation. And for carrying out financial instruments valuation, it could be derivatives, it could be options. There's so many complicated instruments today. We as practicing chartered accountants will not have the knowledge of carrying out a valuation. Maybe once you do this valuation program offered by the CA Institute, Section 8 company, you'll be able to carry out valuation of financial instruments. Intellectual property valuation, whether it's brands, patents, copyright, trademarks, how do you go about valuing it? Many times we really do not know whether we could do it, but intellectual property valuation is a great opportunity for all of us to get into. Insurance and actuarial valuation. Insurance, we have seen many chartered accountants. I have come across many CAs who have been into valuation for purpose of insurance claims. Actuarial valuation, not many CAs are actively involved, but yes, this is a growing space, and insurance and actuarial valuation is something which we could look at. Can I have some water? Valuation of startups. As I told you today, the kind of growth in the startup sector is unimaginable. And every company that is, every startup that comes to you, the first thing which they would like to ask you is, sir, can you help me value my company? I'm looking at some investment. I'm looking at some venture capital funding. I'm looking at a HNI coming and investing in my firm. Can you value my startup? That is when you need to put on your valuation cap and see how best you can value the company in the most ideal way. ESOP valuation, yes, all of us have seen how ESOPs are valued. And basically, we find a lot of opportunities coming in valuation because of taxation purpose, which I already explained to you. So there are plenty of opportunities for valuation. I have come across a lot of chartered accountants who are in this space, who are doing extremely well. And this is one area you can think of specializing. Coming to mergers and acquisitions is something very, very common. All of us have been seeing it over the last 2 to 3 decades. And please don't feel that only the big accounting firms can get into M&A. Every chartered accountant firm can even carry out 1 or 2 M&A transactions. And many times we realize that, we don't have clients coming to us. When I speak to chartered accountants, why don't you get into M&A? They said, sir, Mr. Raghu, not many clients would prefer us. We are a very small firm. Today, you find a lot of boutique, small CA firms specializing in M&A valuations. And there's so much of opportunities at M&A. Each one of us, if you are able to identify one client amongst your existing client who could be a potential client who is interested in looking at a merger, who is interested in disinvestment, I think you can offer consulting services to your clients for handling mergers and acquisitions. So what is happening is in M&A transaction, you can add a lot of value as a chartered accountant to the whole process. And it is absolutely essential for you to keep in mind it's a very, very specialized area. You're involved in the negotiation, you're involved in validating all the documents that goes through a merger process. You need to see the taxation aspect of the merger. And once the entire process is implemented successfully, you need to see the objective is achieved. So the M&A activity in 2023 is likely to be strong, thanks to strong domestic demand and healthy corporate cash flows. We find a lot of multinational companies, a lot of domestic companies are acquiring businesses. And they would like to acquire business for various reasons. They want to grow to scale. They want to have a strategic tie-up with a company specializing in a particular product. There are many reasons why companies are looking at mergers. Many Indian companies are looking, small SMEs are looking at disinvestment, and that is where your role comes in. You should be able to identify a client within your portfolio who could be a good M&A client for you, and you should tell the client, I will handhold with you, I will stand with you, I will help you with the M&A process, and that could be a great revenue earning opportunity. So friends, M&A consulting is a great opportunity, and today M&A transactions have crossed $160 billion in 22, and it's likely to grow by 200%. So when this is happening, I feel as chartered accountants, we are the most ideal professionals to help clients in M&A transactions. Coming to the various consulting opportunities, you can be involved in the due diligence. Let us say a client comes to you and says, Mr. Raghu, I want to acquire this company. You can help your client to conduct a due diligence of the company he plans to acquire to find out everything is fine. I think chartered accountants are the most ideal professionals to carry out the due diligence. Structuring the deal, how much of equity, how much of debt, whether any convertible debentures to be given. How do you go about structuring the deal? Financing of the whole acquisition can be planned by you. Financial modeling. What really happens if you want to disinvest, your client wants to disinvest a portion of his shares, the person who's acquiring would want you to give him a financial model. You are involved in financial modeling. After the merger is over, a lot of integration is required where you as a chartered accountant can pitch in for these services. Negotiation, when a merger and acquisition transaction takes place, how best you can sit down with the client, help him to negotiate the best price for the share that he is selling. So basically, there are a lot of opportunities. Tax planning and compliance, very, very complicated. Structuring M&A transaction is quite complex, and the tax impact is also quite huge. And if you are specializing in tax planning for M&A transactions, I think there's plenty of opportunities. Legal and regulatory compliances, again, as chartered accountants, we are the most ideal people to see that the entire M&A transaction goes through well. Even cross-border M&A is something which we should look at. If a client of yours is looking at acquiring a company in Australia, you should be able to help him to take up help him to acquire that company, and you should have the knowledge of this cross-border M&A. So what I mean to say, if you want to get into M&A, it is just not possible for you to just get into it. You need to deep dive into it. You need to employ staff who have got prior experience in M&A, and let me tell you friends, it is not very difficult for you to get consulting opportunities in the M&A space. Coming to the insolvency bankruptcy code, plenty of opportunities. If you go to Delhi, every other chartered accountant there in Delhi are into insolvency practice. And I find that across the country, we have more than 5,000 insolvency professionals, chartered accountants who have become insolvency professionals. And today, if you look at the entire insolvency fraternity in the country, maximum number of professionals are from the CA profession. And I've seen chartered accountants who completed 20 years of practice, 30 years of practice, chartered accountants who come from abroad, passing the insolvency examination and becoming insolvency professionals. So what really happens in this space is that as an insolvency professional, you can oversee all the insolvency proceedings. You can also help corporates in the liquidation proceedings, not only corporates, individuals, SMEs, you can help them in the liquidation proceedings. And as a result of which, we find that insolvency and bankruptcy code has resulted in a lot of recoveries in the banking sector. I have been on the board of an independent director of a public sector bank. We have seen the kind of recoveries we have made by, by the introduction of the insolvency bankruptcy code. We had a panel of chartered accountants who are insolvency professionals, and let me tell you, our experience was extremely positive. Today, the banking sector in the country is tied up with a lot of non-performing assets, and for most of these non-performing assets, they need insolvency professionals who are able to ensure that the banks are able to recover their money. Today, a lot of banks are able to clean up their balance sheets through higher write-offs, and because of the entire insolvency and bankruptcy code. What are the opportunities for you? Friends, insolvency course is a course, again, the course that is offered by the insolvency board. You can be a resolution professional. You can help ensuring that a company which is planning to get into liquidation, you can try to help such companies. You can set up an insolvency consulting firm. As a chartered accountant, if you are in practice, you can set up a LLP or a partnership firm consulting of insolvency professional. You can start working with professional insolvency space. You can help companies in operational restructuring. Once you're appointed as an insolvency resolution professional, you should have the knowledge of bringing about a restructuring in the organization, because you literally run the enterprise. As an insolvency professional, what really happens is you run the company, you come out with a business plan, try to see if the company can do well, try to retain all the employees, try to see that the operations are not disturbed, and try to see if you're able to do a turnaround for the company. And because of this turnaround, you're able to recover money and pass on the money to the bank to which they have borrowed. One thing I would like to caution you, friends, here is that if you are getting an insolvency, you will not be able to do your insolvency practice with your regular practice. If at all you're already busy in your regular practice, you might not be able to do justice to insolvency practice. I have seen many chartered accountants who have quit their traditional practice and moved into insolvency because of full-time activity. A lot of commitment is required, a lot of dedication. You are answerable to a lot of regulators, and as a result of which, we find that chartered accountants who are into insolvency practice are completely specializing in this area. You have to appear before the NCLT, you have to appear before the Debt Recovery Tribunal, you have to be summoned by the various regulators, whether it could be SEBI, whether it could be MCA. So you should be prepared to focus full time on this activity. And you as a chartered accountant can facilitate the entire liquidation process. And one other big area is that you could also investigate the frauds that have taken place in the company. So IBC gives you a lot of opportunities. And today, if you're a chartered accountant having 3 or 4, IBC assignments, I think you'll be able to sort of do extremely well. And when I've interacted with chartered accountants who are doing insolvency practice, they say it's very good, very positive, but this involves a total commitment on your side to get into insolvency and bankruptcy area of practice. The next area which I thought I would touch upon is forensic audit. Forensic audit is gaining ground. The reason why forensic audit is gaining ground is that frauds are happening almost everywhere. You're seeing frauds happening in the corporate sector, frauds happening in the banking sector, frauds happening in public sector enterprises. So as a result of which, forensic audit is gaining importance. In the bank which I was the chairman of the audit committee, we have utilized so many chartered accountants having specialized knowledge of forensic audit to carry out forensic audit for various non-performing NPA accounts. So what is really happening is that forensic audit is gaining importance. As I said, no domain is spared from fraudulence and injustice. And due to the nature of fraud that is taking place, they require the help of professionals, and chartered accountants with the knowledge of forensic audit are the most ideal professionals to carry out forensic audit. And forensic audit is growing very fast. If you go to other developed nations, especially countries like United Kingdom, you find that chartered accountants who are into forensic are having an exciting, great career opportunity. They're able to do extremely well in their consulting practice also. I see a similar situation happening in India. If you have the knowledge of forensic audit, yes, you can take up a lot of assignments. During COVID, I had the opportunity of passing the certification course on forensic audit. I realized, let me do something, and I was sitting at home and went through the entire certification course. And let me tell you, friends, the course offered by the CA Institute is extremely good. Forensic audit course offered by the Institute is something which all of you should look at. Looking at the types of frauds that are taking place in India, the Reserve Bank of India has mandated forensic audit mandatory for all the banks. Today, every bank, whether it's private sector, public sector, is having a panel of chartered accountants who are forensic auditors. Even investigation agency like CBI, ED, Enforcement Directorate, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs having the fraud investigation office. I think all these are looking at chartered accountants with the knowledge of forensic audit. So I would request you to pick up this area if you're keen, and as a result of which, with the growth in the forensic audit, a lot of opportunities are there. What are the opportunities in the forensic audit? As I said, you could help companies in detecting frauds. Even in big corporates, you see a lot of frauds taking place. Travel and reimbursement, a lot of frauds take place in software companies. Many companies look at the services of chartered accountants to identify frauds, prevent frauds. Preventing fraud also is something very important. So there's a huge opportunity for all of us in this forensic audit. Investigating financial irregularities. Many a times, multinational companies want you to investigate some irregularity that has taken place. They look at CA firms to do this. Investigating whistleblower allegations, again, another area of practice. Digital forensic. Today, with a whole lot of transactions happen digitally, you need to be a digital forensic specialist to carry out this audit. And as I told you earlier, you can work with the Reserve Bank of India, you can work with SFI, Serious Fraud Investigation Office of the MCA, the CBI and ED. And if you're okay to work with the regulatory agencies, whether it is CBI, whether it's RBI, they have panels and list of chartered accountants, you can work with them. Even banks and financial institutions utilizes the services of chartered accountants. So forensic audit is something very interesting. The next area is information systems audit. I think this is something many chartered accountants are already doing information systems audit, because today the way the profession is moving, the way the business is happening, information systems audit is very critical. You need to ensure that the systems are working fine, frauds are not happening, and so much of transaction taking place on the internet. A company like Amazon, the kind of transactions, every minute transactions take place, you need to give an assurance to the management that everything is happening fine. Information audit plays a very important role, and you could specialize in this area. Cyber attacks has become the order of the day. I was just happening to see an article in Deccan Herald a few days back where it was said that the guys working in the software industry are prone to a lot of cyber attack. Even in spite of the knowledge of technology, they are prone to a lot of cyber attacks. Cyber attacks is increasing. And today, the prime key industry sectors is insurance, telecommunication, e-commerce, and online payment. We find that cyber frauds are increasing. Even the banks are reporting a lot of cyber frauds. And this is one area, providing cyber risk services or cyber strategy is something we as chartered accountants, having the knowledge of information systems audit, having the knowledge of technology, can provide services in the field of cyber risk services and cyber risk strategy and management. Friends, this is something very exciting, and if you as a technology consultant can help the businessman to reduce or mitigate the risk, I think he'll be very happy to avail your services. So what is really happening is that after having touched upon various opportunities available for you, I think we should understand that technology is playing a very important role in shaping the future of the profession. When we talk about technology, the key trends is that accounting technology careers are opening up globally. So if you're a technology accountant, it's not very difficult for you to get a good opportunity for you anywhere around the world. Working on the cloud is a new trend. All chartered accountants today are now working on the cloud. It's something accepted. If you've not done it, please do it. Disruptive technologies will reshape the accounting profession. Today you have seen how AIs bring about a change. ChatGPT, how you're able to use it effectively in your day-to-day professional work. Today we find when you speak to your article trainees, they say, sir, I asked them, where did you pick it up? They say, we use ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an excellent AI tool, and we have had sessions in the institute where ChatGPT can be used by practicing chartered accountant. Mobile accounting is gaining popularity. Today you're able to carry out your trade, share booking on the mobile phone. You're able to do everything, literally booking your air tickets on the phone. So mobile accounting is something becoming very, very common. So what is the message is that the accountant of the future needs to be tech savvy. He cannot avoid himself from becoming tech savvy. He needs to become tech savvy. So because of this, he needs to understand the emerging technologies, and artificial intelligence is one big game changer. Today, lot of AI utility, artificial intelligence tax utilities are there available in the market, with many chartered accountants are using, which will help you to perform your professional duties more effectively. And you're able to analyze your accounts receivable, credit reporting, analyzing key market trend, inventory, automation of business processes. A whole lot of things can happen using artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence will continue to impact the profession. You need to keep a close watch of it. In case as chartered accountants, if we do not know how AI is impacting us, let me tell you, the other professionals from other fields would come and start occupying this space. So it's essential for us to understand how AI would impact each one of us. Blockchain is something gaining ground. The banking sector would be the first sector where blockchain will be implemented. Reserve Bank of India has mandated all the banks in the country to examine blockchain in the implementation of blockchain in the respective banks. And all the banks have set up task forces to see how blockchain can be used. In a blockchain environment, the auditor will have online real-time access to all the data. Let us say you are the concurrent auditor of a particular bank, and for a particular branch, you will have access to the online real-time data of that particular branch on a blockchain atmosphere. And blockchain, lot of courses are there. You need to understand. You might say, Mr. Raghu, blockchain is yet to come. Let's see when it comes. But my only request to you is that you please understand what blockchain is, how it impact our audit function, how it would impact the way we offer our services to client, because blockchain will bring about a lot of changes. Analytics, predictive analytics is something, big data analytics, very important. Today, every company is having volumes of data. Whenever you go for audit, when you have to carry out let us say your team has to carry out an audit of the purchases and sales, gone are the days where literally your team sits and verifies each and every purchase bill or a sales bill. It's not possible because the volume of data is so high. You need to use digital tools to carry out an audit. As a result of which, we find that as chartered accountants, we need to know how to handle big data, because data is voluminous. And if a client is having voluminous data, you need to have the expertise to analyze this data. So what really happens is that big data analytics has becoming very popular. Lot of opportunities for you. Chartered accountants having the knowledge of analytics can play a very important role in providing services to clients. Cloud, I've already said, flexibility for working for you anywhere. You can scale up whenever you want. Let us say you want to increase your team size from 50 to 200. Within a span of 3 days, you can scale up. If you want to operate from multiple locations, it's possible for you to have employees working in multiple locations. They get connected to your server on the cloud. So it's possible for you to have a team working in Pune, team working in Bombay, team working in Bangalore, and all of you can get connected to the cloud. And today, a lot of softwares are working on the cloud. Those days, we had softwares which are not cloud enabled. Today, a lot of good softwares are available which are cloud enabled. So you have the managing director of the company sitting in Australia and monitoring the activities of the company in India. You have a CA firm carrying out the accounting for that client, and you have a whole lot of people collaborating and working on the same cloud platform. Robotic process automation is again gaining ground. Basically, what robotic process automation says, routine tasks like punching of vouchers, bank reconciliation, a lot of simple things getting automated. I think all of you are seeing this in your client's place. And I think finance and accounting functions would undergo a rapid change because of robotic process automation. It's essential for us to keep in mind as to how this will impact our day-to-day functioning. Coming to fintech, fintech is growing fast, financial services and technology getting together. A lot of innovations taking place in the fintech space, whether it be portfolio management, you're able to see people buying and selling shares on the mobile phone, stock market trading, online insurance, invoicing and tax computing. Whole lot of companies in the fintech space, and a lot of opportunities are there in the fintech space because every fintech company requires a CA to help him in any of his new applications. So friends, what is happening is that I've just taken you to various opportunities available, how technology is impacting us. We should understand that how telecom sector got disrupted, our profession also is entering a disruptive era. I think this is a very big message to all of us here, is that we should understand that we no longer be comfortable with our regular tax practice, whether direct taxes, indirect tax, audit and assurance, we need to understand there's a disruption taking place. Today, as our speaker said, Panaraj was telling in the morning, you have a client filing the return in the morning, and the evening he is able to get his tax return process. So where is the question of he coming to you for filing his tax return? Because everything is auto-populated, everything is menu-driven, lot of software are available. So as a result of which you find in the years to come, your tax practice starts dwindling. So that is when you have to look at new opportunities. That is when you have to look at how technology can help you to drive new business areas. So when we are entering a disruptive era, we need to understand that we can't restrict our services only to Bangalore. If you have the concept of servicing clients only in Bangalore, please remove that out of your mind. If a client from Calcutta approaches you, you should be ready to offer services to him. If a client from Singapore comes to you and asks you to offer services, you should be ready to offer services to him. So we have to be prepared to work in a borderless world, because no longer you're offering services to a client only in Bangalore or clients in Mangalore or Bellary or whatever it is. You need to be prepared. Your firm should be prepared to offer services to clients around the world. You need to deal with multiple accounting systems. For example, Tally is popular in India, Zoho is popular in India. When you go to Australia, they might say Xero is an accounting software that is popular in Australia. So different countries have different softwares. So your team should have the knowledge of how to work on these softwares. And it's absolutely essential for you to work with accountants of other countries. Let us say you're working with an accountant in Japan, you should be able to work with them. So it's absolutely essential for you to understand that you're working in a borderless world. Credibility in financial reporting gaining ground, a lot of corporate scandals, not only in India, happening around the world. Volatility of capital markets, and the entire financial reporting process is being questioned. If you look at Europe, the entire profession of accounting, the auditing profession is being questioned, what exactly is the work they're doing. Even in India, you've seen the various scams that have taken place, whether it's the Satyam scam or the Global Trust Bank or so many other things. Recently, if you have seen the various other unicorns, I think there's the need for us to keep in mind that financial reporting, a lot of credibility is required, and for that, we have a very important role in ensuring that financial reporting happens properly. Converging of international standards, because today, this is the need of the hour. You have investors investing from various parts of the world, and as a result of which we need to converge with international standard, and that is when IFRS become very important. Your knowledge of IFRS is very important. Please understand, Ind AS and IFRS, they're just 4 to 5 differences. So if you have the knowledge of Ind AS, you could be employable anywhere in the world. So IFRS, a lot of opportunities are available. Today, as I said, users of statements are no longer limited to one country. You have users of statements from various countries. You need to have a uniform reporting system. Glad that the CA Institute has decided to work with the IFRS Foundation, and all our Ind AS standards are IFRS compliant. So there's a need for a high quality global accounting standard. There's a need for each one of us to have the knowledge of these standards. This is how most of the countries where IFRS is being used, the dark blue, so this is gaining ground. And if you have the knowledge of IFRS, let me tell you friends, you can get a job anywhere in the world. It's not very difficult. If you say that you have the knowledge of IFRS, you can land yourself in a job in Singapore or any other country. Promoting strong corporate governance, this is something which I've been always promoting, saying that corporate governance is important. We as chartered accountants play a very important role. And today, even in the startup space, they've realized that corporate governance is weak, and corporate governance, we can play a very important role. And we as chartered accountants should see how we can try to strengthen the corporate governance. Coming to the global opportunities for the profession, if you look at the various geographies around the world, the Gulf region is where the maximum action is happening. More than 20,000 chartered accountants are working in the Gulf region, whether it's Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, or Dubai, Abu Dhabi. More than 25,000 chartered accountants are working there. One of the most exciting destinations, I've traveled to all these places when I was the president, vice president. I've seen how Indian chartered accountants are extremely successful there. So if you're looking at a career abroad, the easiest and the best option is to go to the Gulf region. Pay packages, very attractive, 3 to 4 times what you can earn in India. And many chartered accountants who are working in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Kuwait are extremely happy. They're able to contribute a lot to the growth and development of those particular country. So the Gulf region is one place where chartered accountants are in great demand and attractive pay. And with the new tax regime that has come from April 20, the VAT has been introduced and corporate law has been introduced from June 23. There's a plenty of opportunity. I get so many requests from my friends at Dubai and Abu Dhabi, can you send me some CAs from India? So if you're looking at an opening, especially the young CAs who are present here, if you're looking at an opening in the Gulf region, the most happening region for Indian CAs is the Gulf region. The next important happening region is Australia. Australia, we have chapters in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and all these chapters of the CA Institute are helping chartered accountants to migrate to Australia, and excellent career opportunities. And today, the banking sector, the pension sector, and the insurance sector in Australia provides maximum opportunities for Indian CAs. And we have two MRAs, one with the CPA Australia and the Institute of Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. So let us say you decide to go to Australia, what is it you need to do? You just need to register with CPA Australia, just pass one paper, and once you're able to pass that paper, you become a CPA Australia member, and you can straight away become employable in any of these locations. And the kind of job opportunities in Australia is plenty. So if you're looking at a career in Australia, definitely it's a good idea. Coming to SAARC countries, if you ask me, Mr. Raghu, are there good opportunities for us in Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bhutan? We are working with them. We have a lot of MOUs working with them. Definitely, I personally feel opportunities for all of you in India is better than any of these countries. But for some reason, someone wants to go to Nepal, someone wants to go to Sri Lanka, definitely good opportunities are there in the SAARC region. And many Indian CAs have settled in the SAARC region and have been extremely successful. United States of America, many chartered accountants who have passed CA would keen to go to America. But one thing keep in mind, friends, that our degree is not recognized in America. You need to pass their examination, AICPA, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants have their own degree. You have to pass this examination. You have to literally go through the entire course curriculum once again. But yes, once you pass this, plenty of opportunities for you in M&A, accounting, and various firms are keen on taking Indian CAs who passed CPA course in America, and a lot of opportunities. And I've seen, we have so many chapters in America where chartered accountants from India have gone there, taken up this course, passed the course, and have been successful. We have mutual recognition agreements with various countries. Why I'm talking about all this is that if some of you want to migrate to Australia, want to go to USA, want to go to the Gulf region, want to go to England and Wales, you should understand that we have MRAs with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, with CPA Ireland, CPA Canada, South African Institute of Chartered Accountants, Malaysian Institute of Certified Public Accountants, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nepal. All these MRAs are extremely successful. Many CAs from India have passed the examination of the respective countries and have been extremely successful. You go to London, you will find there are more than 2,000 CAs working from India in this place. So what is the new ecosystem? Now we find that the startup system is growing, and as a result of this startups, we find that a lot of companies are coming, and there's an opportunity for you, especially many youngsters whom I come across when I ask them, what is it you're doing, sir? We are focusing on the startup space. I think it's a good area. The Indian government is also encouraging startups, and startups do not have their own finance team, they do not have their own CFOs, they do not have accounting mechanism. You can help them in multiple ways. So as a chartered accountant firm, if you're able to support startups, I think there's an excellent opportunity for all of us in providing services to the startup space. So friends, plenty of opportunities for us. It is for us to decide which area we would like to focus on, decide whether there's a need for us to move into new areas. I would only recommend and request each one of you, when you have your meeting of your partners, when you sit together, what you need to see is, can we get into some new areas? Can we set up some new verticals? Can we take some young chartered account? Can we drive a new area of practice? And let me tell you, friends, there are a lot of opportunities for you. It's just for you to go deep dive into it, try to understand that vertical, and set up your own consulting practice. So finally, the concluding slide for all of you, the economy is going digital. I think we need to accept this. Lot of new opportunities opening up for us. Our knowledge of taxation and audit is not sufficient. You need to upskill yourself. Corporates are hiring new generation professionals. Today, if you look at corporates, they are hiring chartered accountants with knowledge of analytics, knowledge of artificial intelligence, knowledge of valuation. So corporates are hiring the new generation professionals. Disruption is a new normal. You should accept that there will be disruption that is happening, and the disruption will speed up. Every year you find the disruption happening. So there's a need for us to adapt to all these changes, and it's come, you need to work with other professionals. So what I mean to say, what I would like to conclude is that the way forward for the profession looks exciting. It is upon us as to how we can leverage on all these opportunities. It is upon us as to how we can take advantage of all this and become extremely successful. Thank you, friends. I'm sure, I would like to thank the Bangalore branch for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts on the way forward for the profession. What are the global opportunities for all of you? Since I'm based at Bangalore, anytime you're free to read. Most of you know me personally here. I know most of you personally. You can pick up the phone, call me up, and I'll be able to, share more of my insight, because I've traveled around the world. I've traveled to many cities in India, and I've seen so many chartered accountants doing different things. And I thought this presentation of mine, which I've put in, is after having interacted with so many chartered accountants, having worked in the International Federation of Accountants, having worked as a president, having seen so many CPAs around the world, I thought, let me put in a presentation to just tell you what's happening around us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. If enhancing our knowledge in our core domain is one task, we have equally important task of upgrading ourselves technically too. It is no more just finance world that we have to deal with, but it will be fintech world. Get ready for the disruptive era. Yes, sir, with your guidance, it is surely possible. We surely took a quick world tour with you today. Thank you so much, sir.
To conclude the session, I request CA Shripad Hulgol Narayan, MC member of Bengaluru branch, to please conclude the session.
Thank you so much, Raghu sir. Who else we could have imagined, to start off the conference, 2 days conference? It was none other than CA Raghu sir. Thank you so much for that wonderful session, wonderful insights on the global opportunities and the future of CA profession. Who has, who has seen or who has led the CA profession as a past president. Once again, thank you so much on behalf of the Bangalore branch of SIRC of ICAI, sir. Thank you so much.